shit, it's a Star Wars story. Now, we talk about
Hello everyone, this is another episode of Book Talk. This is Kevin Malone.
Hi.
Kevin Malone is a bartender at Mulberry Street, which is a bar that we Fullertonians like to frequent.
It's awesome.
Kevin is someone who, he just knows a lot about comic books, and he knows a lot about science fiction, and so whenever I go into Mulberry Street, it's a very nice place for me to go because I love those things too. This is Kevin's book collection. Mm-hmm. So here we have, some nice examples of books. How did it just do that? Did you set it on something? Stop that.
No, it only happens once.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, today, for this episode, we're going to be talking about a book that we both love called Ender's Game. We actually went and saw today the movie Ender's Game that just came out. And so we thought it would be fun to see the movie together and then to talk about Ender's Game. Would you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down or somewhere in the middle, or what would you give it?
I would give it a thumbs up. I thought it was very well cast. I think that it was well written. I really liked the action sequences towards the end part of the movie with the spaceships and all that. I think they did that very well.
I would also, I think, give it a thumbs up. But it raises some interesting kind of moral dilemmas.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But, one of the things the film goes into, as we talked about, is the damage psychologically and emotionally that it does to these kids. Because the kids, they're like 15, 14, they're not adults by any means. And they're being asked to be, like soldiers and to ultimately kill. They told him it was a game, a simulation, hence the title Ender's Game. Mm-hmm. And what he finds out after he wins and he's all excited and he's like, hey, how about that? I won. And
they're like, oh crap, it's real.
And then they're like, oh, by the way,
a shitload of people died too.
It wasn't a game. You actually wiped out an entire species. And then...
Now go to bed.
Yeah, live with that. And then he's crushed, right? He's
totally crushed.
And here, we don't feel good at the end. We feel really sadness, I think.
I think we definitely feel for Ender and then his quest for redemption after his xenocide or genocide with the alien species.
Let's talk about the book itself. So the book Ender's Game, written by Orson Scott Card, came out in the 80s.
He won 2 very important awards, 1 year after the other, basically. So that was unheard of.
Both for Ender's Game?
Mm-hmm.
As science fiction often does, good science fiction, it kind of predicts, certain technologies in the real world. One of the things that it definitely predicts is, like the internet.
It definitely uses emails, and the internet, for sure. Email actually plays a big part in it.
Yeah.
And I never thought about that. I guess email really wasn't around in the 80s, not so much.
Not at all, just the government, I guess. Yeah. I feel like it's kind of playing with the idea of the blurring the line between video games and warfare, which, like we grew up in the 80s playing games like Super Mario Brothers and, games that were, I guess some of them were violent, but it was clearly like a cartoony world. And now you look at video games today.
Shoot, it's ironic with, there's a big issue with the U.S. using drone warfare. So just
which they use drones in Ender's Game as well.
So it's just drone warfare, but just on a grander scale.
I could fight a war in Yemen with a computer.
Mm-hmm. And the way that we can, even with their use in the movie, or not so much in the book, but having commanders or those children being able to be in charge of something that's capable of doing, you could drop a cluster bomb and take out, 10 people, or you can wipe out a whole alien species just with a gesture or typing in a command.
Preemptive warfare, which again is, a current thing that the technology is there to fight a war on the other side of the globe and potentially on the other side of the universe using just like computers and technology.
Technologically, I think that's it's impressive, but humanistically, I think
morally,
I think that's scary, and we do have that power at our disposal. I think how it's going to be in the future. Something I remember reading that they actually have recruited people. So super nerds, super video game nerds with tons of skills actually can have a future in certain facets of our armed military. Who do you think? They're not like us. I mean, I know that we grew up with like Atari 2600 and stuff like that, and there are people like our age who are just as good as with video games and Call of Duty games and stuff like that. But imagine the kids born after us. That's just a staple of just your downtime, and you play on average, 10 hours a week. If I was a military, I'd recruit that kid.
Yeah, because they know how to operate those drones.
Mm-hmm. You just feed them a lot of like Mountain Dew and stuff, and just give them the control. Cheetos, yes, Cheetos.
The wars of the future will be fueled by Mountain Dew and Cheetos, and fought by nerds.
Yes.
One thing that I feel like is kind of inescapable when we're talking about Ender's Game is the author, Orson Scott Card.
Here it comes, folks.
Here it comes. So Orson Scott Card, despite having written these amazing science fiction novels that are very, and I think very sensitive in a way, like very thought-provoking, very empathetic. Like empathy is a big part of the story. Orson Scott Card is a very vocal opponent of like gay rights and specifically like same-sex marriage. He's gotten a lot of flack for that, and for me, it's hard for me to reconcile. Like I remember when I first talked to you about Ender's Game, you're like, this is a great book. When you read about the author, you're going to be blown away. Like, this guy,
It's a complete homophobia. I forget. It's like I can't give you quotes from him directly, but they're very easy to find.
Yeah. Maybe I'll put one up like a graphic. Like, hey, here's a quote from Orson Scott Card.
Oh yeah. I don't agree with his personal views at all. But why is it okay? Shouldn't you just boycott the book then?
I don't think so, because it's a really good book. Well, there's other writers. You could look at writers from, further in the past. Hemingway, who were, just blatant misogynists, right? Totally misogynistic people. Like, authors maybe are human beings with foibles and flaws,
sure.
And like, they're not gonna, I guess you don't have to agree with them, but... The brilliant writer / virulent homophobe.
Okay.
I kind of want another drink.
Okay.
Maybe we'll take a break. We'll be back. We'll take a commercial break. Enjoy this commercial. Duck Dynasty. The Quack Pack is back.
The Quack Pack was
Put
back.
a visual of the Duck Dynasty.
And it may be great.
Apparently it's a reality TV show about people.
I tried to watch the first episode, and I'll give it another.
It's not about ducks. It's actually about humans.
So.
All right, and we're back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I think like the good science fiction, the science fiction that matters, that people remember and talk about and still read, is science fiction that resonates with certain like human themes, like any kind of great literature. So Kevin, how does science fiction function as social commentary?
I think it's definitely applicable, for sure. You go back, William Gibson, like Arthur C. Clarkson, Philip K. Dick and everything.
You said Arthur C. Clarkson?
Clark's and that future is our reality. But especially within sci-fi, what's funny with that genre is that these people, their imagination runs rampant, and we live in a world in which we are using. Look at even like Jetsons cartoons. Like I can FaceTime like my girlfriend and talk to her on my phone.
Yeah.
Or on my computer or something like that.
That's Jetsons predicted that.
Friggin' amazing. Yeah. In predicting the net, we're talking about Ansibles and things like on a grand scale. This is shit that's happening now. You're talking about
Star Trek.
Or even a Star Trek. Don't you feel like you're a member of Star Trek when we're talking to people on our phones and stuff?
Yeah, Captain to Kevin. Meet me at Mulberry, please.
That looks weird. But no, it's like we live in a modern age, but the modern age that we live in was predicted by futurists. I would like to see things go beyond our planet. Like I'm I want more terraforming. I want more investment in cryogenic sleep. Like,
You want terraforming?
I want us to get beyond this planet because we're probably gonna fuck it up.
Yeah,
Or we are fucking it up. So
We are.
it's kind of like if you invited a bunch of people to your house, you know, and had a party and you had some strict rules and then didn't make any rules and then they fuck up your house and you can't live there anymore. It's like you've got to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So
Like, it would be like you invite friends over to a party, and then they start, like, drilling holes in your floor, and then they start, like, pouring...
and you can't live there anymore.
They start pouring chemicals all over your house. Thank you for watching this episode of Book Talk. My guest has been Kevin Malone.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, expert, all things sci-fi, comic, and life. And I'm Jesse Latour.
I'm Kevin Malone.
Kevin Malone. And thank you for watching. And
Bye.
take care. Take care of yourselves out there.